On June 27, 1927, when I was 11 and a half years old, I came to America from Germany with my family in a small boat called the Hamburg. It took 9 days to get to New York, and I was seasick most of the way. At first, it was hard. In about 3 months, I could understand quite a bit of English. It didn't take me very long to fit right in. During my childhood, my family moved around quite a bit, which was difficult at times, but I tried to make the best of every place that we moved to. When I was 19 years old, I met my husband, but at first I wouldn't even give him the time of day. He lived 3 floors up in the same apartment complex as my family, but I would never talk to him when he tried to make conversation, because I grew up in the old-fashioned way and was taught that you didn't talk to strangers unless you were properly introduced. Our first conversation took place at a mutual friend's birthday party. And when he finally woke up enough courage to ask me to go on a date with him, I said, maybe, playing hard to get. He asked me to the movies, and I told him that I would think about it. But we ended up going on a date, and in a year we were married. I was married in March of 1936, right around the time of the Great Depression. Then things got very hard. We both had jobs, but he worked night while I worked during the day. When he came home to sleep, I would be going to work. The only times we would see each other would be on the elevator, an above-ground train that ran through the boroughs of New York, when he was coming home and I was going out. Good morning, my darling. Goodbye, my darling. That's all we could say to each other. Even though times were hard, when we were young adults, we were happy because we found joy in little things. For example, after we were married, we had a little 1940 Roadster that we traveled around in. One time we took my sister and a few of her friends along on a trip to Mount Vernon, but we had 4 flats on the way and ran out of spares to fix it. So we all pulled our money and went to a diner, each ordering coffee and a bun and having a great time enjoying each other's company. When we were young, things like that didn't faze us because it was like an adventure. When we come home, we had a spare tire that we put on a car, and my husband and I drove to Atlantic City the next morning. We were happy simply making our own fun, and we certainly had a lot of fun. In December of 1937, when my son was 6 months old, our home burned down because the man who lived above our apartment had a habit of throwing his cigarette butts out the window. And one day it blew into our apartment. Nothing could be saved, so we lost everything because we had no insurance at the time. It was really hard for a while, and we struggled quite a bit, but we managed, eventually moving to an apartment in the same building as my mother, making it possible for her to watch our son while we worked. When my son was 7 years old and I was pregnant with my daughter, my husband was enlisted to fight in World War II. She was born in February, and then 4 weeks later my husband had to leave. For 3 years, I had to bring our children up alone without their daddy. But I managed, and after he returned home, things got better. My husband passed away in July of 2003 at the age of 88, and I moved to Hamilton from Florida in the year 2004. Then in 2009, I fell and broke my kneecap and femur bone. I was in the hospital for 2.5 months waiting for my bones to adhere back together by themselves. Now my leg is shorter than the other and a little crooked, but that's okay by me because I can still walk, I get around and do things for myself, so I see no reason to complain. While I have suffered many hardships, I think that I have lived a good life, and I now have 2 children, 5 grandchildren, 12 great-grandchildren, and 4 great-great-grandchildren to show for it. Life is a struggle, but you need to keep going, regardless of how old you are. And no matter what may happen, it's still a wonderful world. And I am almost 95 years old. Thank you.